My way, or the highway, and in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
What's going on, everyone? Good morning. Welcome back to the Gallop Out. I'm your host, Ryan, joined as usual by my co-host, Jackson Muniz. Jackson, how you doing?
What's up, man? Bright and early today. We're going, what do we usually do? 6 o'clock times? Today we're doing
bright and early, and it is 11 a.m. 2
11
p.m. if you're watching on the East Coast. But yeah, bright and early for West Coast people, I guess, as we do. Jackson, we got
I only wake up early for the big racing days like Saudi Derby, which I was up at like 6 a.m. on this last weekend. But weekdays a little different. Weekdays a little different indeed. Yeah, I was with you. I was up at 4 a.m. last Saturday to drive up to Santa Anita so I could be there in time for the Saudi Derby to watch Acknowledge Me Please from the Doug O'Neill barn. That was an early start without a doubt, but this is not as early, but still some good racing coming up this weekend. It is a little bit of a down week. Your only Derby prep is going to be out at Turfway this Saturday in the John Battaglia Memorial Stakes. Other than that, we have some good competitive racing going around. So naturally, we're going to go to the $3 late pick 3 at Oaklawn Park, 15% takeout, as this is one of the new wagers that track is introducing to their fans. Some obviously competitive fields of I think it's 8, 11, and 11, or 8, 12, and 12. So obviously plenty of horses to talk about. Checking in with the Katie's here. 2 days in a row for you two. That's right. And you might see me or Jackson again on the screen tomorrow, back over on HHH. But today we're covering this late pick 3 out at Oaklawn. What were your thoughts on the sequence, Jackson? It's good. It's going to be pretty interesting. I think the first race we're going to talk about is the stake. Looks potentially pretty formful. But the last two I thought were pretty wide open. You can maybe go in some different directions in those races. So, I mean, I think for a bet like the late pick 3 with a $3 minimum, like these are the kind of sequences you want, like competitive, but not impossible. I think you're still able to have strong opinions and narrow down somewhat.
Yeah, I agree. Without further ado, let's get on into it. Race number 8 is going to be the, I probably should have looked at the word for this race, but it's for Archiebreds. Listed stake for 150,000. I notable breeder. I don't know. Notable breeder, maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing right now, but I'm not guessing on our picks. Picks are up. We're going with the same 3, just in different order. I'm going 4, 8, 3. Jackson 3, 8, 4. Jackson,
no, it's the no double breeder stakes.
There it is. No double breeder stakes. All right. Well, I probably should have just kept it listed as the listed Archibred stakes. Yeah. But either way, Jackson, you'll kick us off with the morning line favorite, the number 3 Bohemian Bow.
Yeah, and like as I kind of alluded to in the opening and looking at our picks, it feels like a race where there's probably 3 horses that can win. The rest of them just have been too slow at this point. Would need a significant step up, or they would need all 3 of these horses not to show up with their better efforts for someone else to get in the mix, and that just seems unlikely in here. So for me, when you're looking at a pick 3, this is the race where I want to single here. I'm going to single the 3 Bohemian Bow because I feel like he has a pace edge in this race, and there's not a lot of other speed as you go through this field. The one horse that might challenge him early is probably Touchdown Arkansas, who's drawn to the far outside. That's also a horse that is very capable of just sitting a length off and producing his best run from there too. And I don't know if he wants to necessarily hook up with a horse like this that's very, very fast and compromise his chances. So I think with Bohemian Bow, he is the fastest horse in the race. He's the fastest horse early, and he's got the fastest overall speed figures as well. I think you just let him do his thing on the front end like they did last time when he ran okay. That wasn't one of his best efforts. He had an easy lead and barely held on, beating Navy SEAL that day. I also don't think that was a race he probably was 100% cranked up for. I mean, that was a first race off a long layoff. They knew they had the stakes race to look forward to for Archiebreds, where he would be really tough. That's coming up this Saturday. I think this is the race where we will see his best ever. He's going to be cranked 100%. And it sure looks like he's going to have circumstances in his favor on Saturday. So nothing too exciting. Short price favorite for me in the opening leg.
Yeah, I gave this one a look, obviously, but it wasn't one that I ultimately came back to. I opened up the entire past performances. This is going to be his 5th running in this. Oh, nope, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. This is going to be his 3rd running, rather, but he was favored in the last 2. He failed last year as an odds-on favorite when he set the pace and kind of got things his own way again. Not blue-coated, but, very average speed, which I think is going to be typical to what he gets. You can see 2 years ago he won this race when setting some slow fractions up front that day. I don't know. This is a horse I certainly respect, and if I was playing in contests, I'd probably want to focus it on this horse and the number 4 Navy Seal that we're going to talk about. But if I'm playing horizontals, I'm going to take a stand against Bohemian Bow. I think while he should be forward early, I think if he's pretty much, unless he's getting away with absolute murder on the front end, he hasn't necessarily shown that he's always going to be around there late. And I do think there's some talented horses coming from maybe a little bit off the pace. One of those is going to be the number 4 Navy Seal, who I'm going to end up with here. This horse comes in off a 4th place finish in the Commodore Stakes for those for restricted company that I think we were covering this race with Dinnerman last time we talked about Oaklawn, but I might be wrong because time it flies and is not real. So I think Navy Seal, if the pace presence of Touchdown Arkansas to the outside that you mentioned, if he goes and just makes Bohemian Bow go a little faster than he wants, Navy Seal's a horse that has been consistent. Some of those speed figures have been, a little light in comparison to the number 3 Bohemian Bow, but I do think that Navy Seal has that he's going to be the one to hold off late, and he's beaten Bohemian Bow a couple times on the square. He's lost once or twice as well to him, so it should be a good throwdown. I'll take the number 4 Navy Seal as a horse to kind of come from off the pace in his 8-year-old year. Yeah,
it just really feels like Touchdown Arkansas is the key to this race, what he ends up doing from a tactics perspective, because if he doesn't go, Bohemian Bow is completely loose and probably going to win. If he does go, it's going to really set up for a horse like Navy Seal. So Touchdown Arkansas is in a really difficult position from that outside post. He's going to have to figure out what to do. But he's a horse that, he has that 186 buyer on his page that makes him a fit in here. But the rest of his race is not so much. He's definitely a horse that needs to get a little bit faster. I think at 3-1, you're supposed to try to fade him a little bit. If he drifts up some like 4-1, 5-1, then maybe find a way to include him.
Yeah, we'll talk about the number 8 Touchdown Arkansas, as that's a horse you and I both have respect for, picking this horse in second. Yeah, I'm with you. I would only really play this horse at 9-2-ish, I would say, if the other two are taking kind of ridiculous amounts of money. I do like the outside draw because I do think it's going to get him the most comfortable. His 2 wins have come from outside post positions, looking at the maiden breaking performance, and came right back in that allowance race. Jackson, I'm pretty sure this is the horse that you tipped out to me in our group chat in that February race last year. You said this horse is working like a monster for Arcubreds, and one like it too. So that's when I think you became the workout king. But
that was probably the worst betting day of my entire life. I think I hit the last 5 races of the day, and I don't know if I cashed $1 that day. So that was the day that I changed some things around after that. Yeah.
There we go. That's rough. It's okay. If this is the same weekend I'm thinking about, I faded Jenkin, that horse that won at like 15-1, even though I picked him on top of the show. I forgot to use him in my ticket. So we all have our bad betting days at Oaklawn.
But are you in agreement? Like, there is no other horse with speed in here outside of Bohemian Bow. Like, Touchdown Arkansas is the only other horse that can go put some pressure on him. So I agree. I really feel like he's the key to the race.
I completely agree with that. In that, when you also look through Touchdown Arkansas's form, you look to those 2 best races he has on the page, it's when he's forward. So I do think Francisco Arietta is going to hustle him out of there. He's second off the layoff here. That comeback effort was good when he lost to Nikolai. I think he can build on that. And if he has 21-second speed to that first quarter, and if he uses that, I think that puts Bohemian Bow in a bit of a compromising position. I don't know about you, Jazz. I don't know how Touchdown Arkansas necessarily wins this race.
I'm saying
he's kind of in no man's land, but he very well could kind of just trip out if he ends up sitting off the hip of Bohemian Bow and gets by. It's possible that they go a pace that allows that doesn't necessarily allow Navy Seal to get his best closing kick and allows Touchdown Arkansas to get the upper hand. But other than that, I'm with you that the number 8 Touchdown Arkansas is the key to the race. Competitive group, though.
Yeah.
Will be fun to watch regardless. Any other horses you want to discuss here before we keep on moving?
I mean, the one horse I thought was maybe interesting at a price is the 7, 110 Stadium, but he's just a horse that comes from so far out of it. And as we said, that we're just not expecting him to go very fast. So he's going to be up against it from a pace perspective for sure. But maybe the 3 and 8 do go on a mission and they just completely falls apart and he can pick up a lot of pieces.
Yeah, it is possible. Anything's possible, but we'll wrap up race number 8. I'm going 4-8-3, Jackson 3-8-4. We'll move on. Race number 9 is a ratings handicap race, something that we're seeing new at Oaklawn. We saw it once or twice at Santa Anita. Don't know how well that worked, but we're going to try it out here. They had one last week that I think ran relatively reasonable. Anyway, picks for the race. I'm going 3-8-11. Jackson's going 5-11-3. So, Jackson, we're going to start with you once again. The number 5 Spring Dancer, Randy Morse and Jamie Torres teaming up for this one.
Yeah, well, first of all, I feel like this is kind of what they had in mind when they started this rating system. And I know there haven't been too many races, but this feels like a really competitive race where you can make a case for the favorites. Obviously, are going to be tough, but I think you can find some 10, 12, 15-1 shots that really are kind of right there, too. I think that's kind of the goal of the rating system. It's just going to be about getting it to be consistently races like this that will fill. So cool that they worked out in this spot. As far as Spring Dancer goes, she's not guaranteed to run in here. She's also entered on Sunday for, I think, 3 times the purse money in what I thought was a pretty similar field. So I don't know if she's actually going to run in this spot. If she does, though, I like her in here. I think there's not an abundance of speed. I think Miss Arlington to her outside is going to go. There may be one other horse drawn towards the far outside that could put a little pressure on, but probably not too much. And I just feel like that last race, she kind of turned a corner. I mean, I don't know where it came from necessarily, but she looked really good doing it in that field. That no one's come out of that race to win, but a lot of horses have come out of there to improve their speed figures by a few points. I mean, it's not small. I mean, a lot of horses came out to improve double digits, and the horses that were behind her improved 5 points, 4 points, 6 points. And I just feel like that was a race that maybe is a little bit better than it looks. Maybe it's a better field than the one she's facing on Saturday. And if she can get the same trip that she got last time on January the 2nd, I think she's supposed to be pretty tough for this field to catch.
Yeah, she should be tough. I'm with you that the last out performance was good. Given that seems like it was maybe the wedding. You got almost 25-1 on her that day, and you're going to take a fraction of that here. But she does seem to be in the right kind of form. And if Torres gets this filly out in front again, I'm with you. I think Miss Arlington's pretty much one of the only ones that can go with her, but I do think she does go, and I do think she's going to be pressing the pace early, which led me to take the number 3 Pistol as my top pick. I don't know what, Jackson, you think the odds on the doubles I'll get from the previous race using, those top 2 favorites into this horse, but that's going to be probably my main play. And then obviously a little bit with Touchdown Arkansas if I can afford that as well. But I like the effort 2 back where really just set the perfect kind of trip, a trip that I really envisioned for her this Saturday. I don't know if last time out in the Bugler Stakes was an off Lasix factor, or maybe just wasn't her day. First off, the layoff to start for her 7-year-old season. Obviously, maybe a little bit of a concern. It's the 7-year-old mare. Maybe she's ready to, be a mom as we see. But she ended in late November at Churchill is such a strong performance. I think that she can bounce back. And a 67, while it's not as strong, she's thrown in her occasional clunkers if you look through her form page. So I do think she can kind of get back to what she does best. And I do think one of her better efforts wins here, especially, again, I'm going to, hope that she runs that 2-back effort at Churchill Downs. But I think she gets the pace set up here, and I think she likes to come from off the pace. So I'm gonna use Pistol as the second leg of some doubles that I'll play here, because very hard trying consistent horse.
Yeah, it's a tale of 2 tapes with her, because I don't know what happened last time. She was horrible. She didn't break well, and she never really picked up her feet in that spot. I don't really want to blame on the non-Lasix thing, because you can go down to her page early last year. She ran perfectly fine without Lasix. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad day. As you kind of said, the race 2 back, though, was really good at Churchill. I mean, I know she was 53-1, but she beat a good field, and a lot of horses have come out of there to do some good things. So just depends which version of her shows up on Saturday. With the most recent race being that poor, I felt more comfortable putting her underneath, but I'm not going to be surprised if she runs well again.
Yeah, I just talked about your pick, missing the wedding. I missed the wedding and the honeymoon with Pistol 2 back at almost 54-1 at that day at Churchill. So hopefully, she can get back to those winning ways. We'll go out to the 11 in Louisa. I don't know.
Louisa.
To this horse, Jackson, you and I both have some respect for this one. I'll give it to you. I have this horse in third, you in second. This is another kind of off the pace closing type.
Yeah, off the pace horse for sure. And I found it kind of weird, Ryan, that they took her to Fairgrounds last time to try the grass, because I don't know, it just felt like it was a weird spot. Maybe she was doing so well they didn't want to keep her in the barn during the Oaklawn break that they had. So maybe was the excuse. And it wasn't like she faced a bad field. I mean, Shining Star came back and won the stake yesterday by like 20 lengths at 1-2. So, she faced a good group that day. And she does feel like she has the right running style for this race, and that she can be within a length or two if the pace comes up soft and they need to be close, she can. But as we saw two back as well, she can come from dead last if they go bonkers on the front end, and she can pick up a lot of pieces as well. So with the outside draw, with the versatile running style, she's got plenty of options from out there. 5-1 seems a tad short to me. I think I'd probably went a little bit higher if I was going to bet her to win, but she's no doubt she's a contender in this spot.
Yeah, definitely a contender. That two-back effort was strong over this course. And I'm in your same camp. I wondered about why they went to Fairgrounds with her. Given 5.5, I also don't think is anywhere close to her right distance. I don't think that's what she liked. Clearly, I don't think she liked the grass a whole lot, even though she's run well going longer on the grass in the past. I feel like, they had obviously the break and the weather at Oaklawn, so maybe that was the reason. They just kind of wanted to get a race into her and have her stay, race fit, which very valid if that was what they decided to do. But either way, she has a versatile running style. She's not going to be up on the front, but she does have the ability to lay close or come from well out of it, depending on the race flow. So I always like to see that with a horse. We'll go, Jackson, to I guess you already talked about the 3. So I'll talk about the 8 a little bit before we keep things moving on. This is one I thought might get forgotten about a little bit. There were a couple head-scratching performances in the Bugler Stakes. One was the number 3 Pistol. This was another one in Tilted Lady. I don't know what happened. I don't know if you have a better thought on that one, Jackson, but really I'm going to go ahead and just draw a line through that effort, because she's run fine and run well at this distance and at Oaklawn Park before. So maybe it just wasn't her day. Maybe just didn't really, have a good breakfast that morning. I have no idea what the issue was, but she has a lot of back races to get to that I think make her a big player in here, even the 2 and 3 back efforts. So she's definitely one I wanted to use. And you get Louis Sias back aboard, who was aboard 2 back for that 8-length romp.
Yeah, I just wondered with her if the waters got a little too deep last time, and maybe she's just not of this caliber, because she was kind of beating up on lesser 2 and 3 back when she won. And other numbers, the races came back pretty fast. So maybe that's just not the case. Maybe it was just a bad day, like you said. For me, 9-2 was just a little too short in a field like this.
Yeah, very fair. We'll keep things moving to the last leg in this sequence. Wrapping it up real quick. I went 3-8-11, Jackson 5-11-3. Race 10, we're not getting any easier. Big field once again. Jackson, our picks are relatively similar, but I think we have, is it 11 or 12 horses? 12 horses in the body of the field. I'm going 3-5-11, Jackson 5-7-11. Jackson, we'll start with you. Excel calculator for the Cole David Jacobson barn, but does get a substantial class drop here. Yeah,
he's pretty chilly right now. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention to kind of surprise me when I saw how few races he's been winning at this meet. But it's just, this horse feels like he's set up for success in this spot facing today's field. And I think you really have to make a decision about what to do with that common race on just 10 days ago on February the 7th, when I think there's 5 horses coming out of the same race that was won by Little Steven, who, I don't know if you watched the race back, Ryan, but I mean, Little Steven did all the dirty work. They went fast up front. They opened up 4 or 5 lengths from the rest of the field. He put away his speed rival and held off all the closers, and he was like 60-1 in there. So I wasn't sure what to make of that race, and I ultimately decided I'm just going to fade everyone coming out of that spot that ran. So I was looking in different directions, and it just seemed like there's a lot of speed in here, and it's really just supposed to set up for Excel calculator with how much speed is signed on in this race. And as you kind of mentioned as well, big class relief. I mean, he's been facing so much better than what he's going to face on Saturday. And I know he didn't run well last time, but isn't that 66 buyer still put him in the mix against this group? I mean, that puts him right there. And if he runs back to the race, it's 2 back, 3 back, 4 back. I mean, he's supposed to win this thing for fun. So I think given the pace scenario, given the class he's been facing against, and given his speed figures, I think if he shows up with one of his better efforts, he's really supposed to win this thing.
Yeah, he is. That's why I picked him in second. I mean, they're dropping down to the bottom here, but it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily scare me. This is owned as well by David Jacobson, and trainers will always place their horses where they think that they can win, and they're not afraid to lose them in the claiming ranks if that's the case. And I think Jacobson. This might be, especially Jacobson. He's all good to get a win, and yeah, if you go to those efforts 2, 3, 4. And 5 back. I mean, all of those are winning efforts versus this field. Got a bit of a head scratcher last time, but could certainly bounce back and should win this for fun. I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I just wanted to try and get a little bit creative, just because for whatever reason, his horses maybe aren't firing to the level that we're normally kind of used to. So I thought I'd get, I'd go with the barn that is firing kind of on all cylinders. That's Norm Cassie, who's had a couple nice winners, had a really nice debut winner over this past weekend. I forget the name, but Luis Saez is going to get on board for this runner, as this one also takes a good drop down to the $10,000 level. Numbers on dirt certainly fit. This is one that's probably going to be a little more forward. Certainly more forward than Excel Calculator. I hope not on the lead. I hope just, in that second flight of horses, just kind of stalking the pace. And then, you get that Saez move on the far turn, and hopefully that's going to be enough, because Jackson, you and I know well, it's hard to pass Luis Saez in the stretch. So I want to take the number 3 man, Freddie, to end things at a bit of a price in here. I do think has the right run style, and I think finally kind of meets his friends down at the $10,000 level.
I took a really long look at this horse, and what ultimately put me off was I looked at Norm Cassie in dirt races when he's dropping his horses by 50% or more in claiming tag. His numbers are okay. He's winning at like 16%, I believe. 16% winners. ROI is just $1 though, $1.09. And if you go through each horse, I mean, I think with horses that are less than 2 to 1 or 2 to 1 or less, he's like 1 for 15. So these are horses that are expected to run really well, and they are not winning when he does moves like this. So that's kind of what put me off with this horse, but maybe he'll be the exception. 8 to 1's more than a fair price.
Yeah, I'll take a shot at 8 to 1. That's a good stat for DRF formulator in there. We'll go out to the 7. Come Out Fighting. Certainly is going to have to be fighting a little bit here. This one does come out of that Little Steven race for the $8,000 claimers last time out. I mean, 12 to 1. I'm not going to necessarily talk you off of that.
Yeah, well, I liked him in there, and he's the one horse I can bet back because he lost all chance at the start when the rider lost the irons, and he was a speed horse that was 20 lengths out of it. I mean, I was kind of surprised they actually kept riding him to the wire. He actually passed a few horses, and I don't know. You tossed the race. He didn't show up. He had no chance. The 2-back race was one I think we've talked about before. There were 4 horses across the track the entire way around on a suicidal pace. Another one where he just was never going to run well. And you go back to the race 3-back where he was close to a reasonable pace for once, and he ran really well. And the 84 buyer, I mean, if he runs the 84 buyer, he's going to be right there. I don't expect him to. I think he can probably run more like a 70s or something. But he's the one speed horse I would bet in here, just because his last 2 races are so dirtied up that I think you're going to actually get a pretty good price on him.
Yeah, and you get the attraction of Ramon Vasquez, who's one of the leading riders out at Oaklawn. So certainly nothing to poo-poo on that one. Last horse we'll talk about is number 11, Eastside Cool, who, look, 2-back, that effort was really strong, and that effort got the job done. Last time out versus Money Run did not get that. Money Run, Bright Spark, George Treminer, a bunch that were in there, and ran a respectable buyer speed figure, I guess, but I mean, was really nowhere close towards the end versus a field that I think was much better than he is. But drops back down into the claiming ranks where he's done a lot of his better running. That 2-back effort versus $10,000 claimer certainly fits. Jackson, you and I picked this horse in 3rd. I want to know your thoughts, but mine was just, this is a horse that's going to be too short of a price that doesn't necessarily have the consistency I like to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. For me, it was more his run style for this race. Like I feel like there's a lot of speed, and all his better efforts are when he's able to be fourthly placed and up on the pace. And I just don't know if that's going to be a winning trip for him on Saturday. And as you said, he's going to be the favorite, or at least no worse than second choice in here. So his last two races were fine. I will say the race he won 2 back was against, I thought a lesser group than the one he's going to face here. So it was more just the price than anything. I think if I have him at 5-2 and I have the Jacobson horse at 3-1, I want the Jacobson horse 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, that's very valid. This is one that I would consider using on, my pick fives or any horizontals, but probably not one that I'm going to use as a win candidate, I guess. Although, actually, I take that back. I'm probably trying to beat this horse, but I do respect his chances on paper because he could get forward. And you mentioned the little Steven race where that horse kind of did all the dirty work. It could be one of those where if a horse gets out to the lead, these other horses maybe just don't want to get the job done. It won't take many to not fire for a horse to get away on the front end. That'll wrap up. There's also a horse. Last one I guess we'll talk about. This horse is a little bit off form, but I think if Gasoline gets back to his best running that he did in the Carlos David and the barns before that, I certainly think this one could factor. He's dropping to the lowest level he's been at.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's a backup 10-1. It's been a while since he's run a strong race, though. I mean, those last 3 numbers are slow.
Yeah, they're not good. He might be 7 years old. He might not be the Wolfie's Dyna Ghost of Oaklawn, but we'll wrap up this late pick 3 sequence. Jackson, if you're going to place any, one more time with the picks, rather, I'm going 3, 5, 11. Jackson 5, 7, 11. Jackson, to wrap things up for the show today, thoughts on this sequence, and then any bets you're looking forward to playing at Oaklawn? Maybe even the $3 late pick 3.
Yeah, I'll play this late pick 3. I think it's one you can get. When I play these late pick 3, the $3 ones, I like to be really skinny with them, and it feels like one where I can be, because I think I could single Bohemian Bow in that first leg, and that'll be a little bit of separation there, not a ton because he's gonna be favored, but at least I'm singling him. And then the second leg, I'll probably use a couple. I'll use hopefully the 5 runs. Spring Dancer, I feel like you need to use her. I would also use Louisa.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say her name.
That one.
The 11, yeah. I would probably just use those 2 and try to beat Pistol. So I'd go 3 with 5, 11. And the last race, like I said, I think Excel Calculator is supposed to win. And I would single him as well. It'd be a really skinny ticket. I'd press it up a few times. I don't know if I'd use a backup ticket, to be honest. I think I'd try to just be really aggressive with this. And if you lose, you lose. And you come back and you play those horses to win. I mean, it's not a big deal. There's plenty of other races down the line.
100%. I'm with you. I think I'm gonna single Navy SEAL to start things off. Yeah. In that second leg, I'm going to single Pistol unless your horse Spring Dancer scratches, in which case I think Miss Arlington is loose on the front end, and that might be dangerous. And I think the same would be true if Miss Arlington, for whatever reason, was going to scratch. Obviously, I'm just going with the Spring Dancer scratch because that's the one that is double or cross entered into another race. So if that were to be the case, I would have to change my handicapping on that completely, where neither of us, I think, picked Miss Arlington anywhere in the top 3 or 4, maybe. But I mean, that would change things from a pace scenario because those are truly the only 2 speed types in there. And I think that would allow one of them to, get away with things on the front end. So if they're both in the race, I'm going to use Pistol. I think Pistol can get back to her winning ways in there. And then in the last race, I'll probably use the 3 and the 5. I'll use the 5 Excel Calculator because I do think the 11 Eastside Cool is probably going to take a little bit more money. And I think the number 3 Manfredi, who's obviously my top pick, could meet her friends down at the bottom. Jackson, thanks as always for joining. Fun show. Late pick 3 at Oaklawn this Saturday. Be sure to check it out. For my co-host Jackson Muniz, I'm Ryan Anderson. We'll see you guys next week on the Gallop Out.